Hey, everybody. Welcome to Office Hours. We are here on Tuesday, September 28th, and today's kind of an exciting day. In addition to Office Hours and all the cool stuff that we're going to cover, Amazon right now is announcing a bunch of new devices and services. And while we can't talk about them specifically in this session, we would recommend that maybe you head over to aboutamazon.com and just kick a browser open. It's not a video broadcast. But they are going to be sharing a bunch of information about the new devices and services that are coming out today. You can also go to your favorite tech publication if you want to go to Wired or TechCrunch or any of those. I'm sure they'll be live blogging it as well. But in the meantime, Scott, Ryan, welcome, guys.
Hey.
Yeah,
I got the 15-minute reminder for that coming up, and I was like, oh no. It's today.
It's today, and it's happening right now.
The whole team's watching it right now, so they've all told me that they're taking it.
I think it's probably better that it's happening right now, though, than like an hour or two ago, because then everybody would have watched and seen that and then come to us and be like, tell me all the things.
Yeah.
We still have plausible deniability. Like I don't know anything, so
right.
Perfect.
And that is the way it should be. We do not like to be in the business of leaking things. And, honestly, in the history of these office hours, I've been asked to share all the secrets. And I often tell people I like my job more than I like sharing secrets. So I'm going to keep not sharing secrets. But in the meantime, I do have that browser open. In fact, I'll share the link here. If you want to go to the specific page at About Amazon, this is where I think they'll be announcing this stuff right as it's announced in the video to the media. Media is the only one that's watching this broadcast. But as those announcements are made, I think it'll be available to everybody on this page, so you can kind of follow along live blog style.
I believe The Verge is also, and a bunch of other tech blogs are having live blogs as well.
Yeah.
So I'll try and keep one browser tab open.
See if I go look at. I don't see anything on Wired. I wonder if like TechCrunch.
Probably seen it, right?
I mean, it was supposed to start the same time as this 3 minutes ago. So I would think that there would be a link or something.
Well, A-Witter's got one on CNET.
Hey, there it is.
Awesome. Well, anyway, we don't really, it hasn't started yet. Well, that's good to know. So we don't really have anything to say about that anyway. But I will have my itchy pre-order trigger finger ready to go on Amazon.com a little later today. Because, man, I'm excited. Anyway, what's going on with you guys? Anything new? What's going on? Scott, we haven't seen you in a little bit. How are things?
Yeah, good. Currently, I'm downstairs right now because we're doing stuff to the house, which is why you can see this wood here has been like thoroughly scraped to death because there was 30 years of paint on it, because when you buy a house that's 125 years old and it still has lead paint in it,
right?
In the 70s and 80s, they were like, yeah, it's fine. Just paint over it. It'll be fine.
Right.
And they did. So
well, eventually somebody had to rip it all off and start over, and I'm glad.
Yeah, it's me.
It's a nice rustic look right now. So
yeah, it's kind of
like it.
Unless you're here, in which case it's just like
it's kind of like I'm in a barn. I'm living in a barn type look. Yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah, this is not a barn though. I don't want it to be a barn.
Is this a house you own in Seattle?
Yeah. Yeah, so we got so incredibly lucky. We got in at the exact moment where right before national news was starting to report that people can't buy houses right now because they're getting outbid, and like it's incredibly hard to rent and it's incredibly hard to find a place. And I don't know how, like the universe just rolled the dice and we just managed to get this house. And it was just perfect timing because everybody else is having so much. And so we're so thankful all the time. I'm like, this isn't mine, right? Like, I don't actually live here. I don't feel like this is like, we didn't actually get that. They're going to come and tell us like, no, sorry, we made a mistake. Actually, you didn't live here.
We lied. You will not be getting any of this.
Yeah, it's, no, it's good. And also my puppy Murphy now weighs 140 pounds. Showing signs of slowing.
Puppy is an interesting word for a 140-pound dog.
He's only a year old.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I guess that still qualifies.
Qualifies. Yeah. He's wondering.
Okay, so that page that I linked everyone to did just get an update 30 seconds ago. So it does look like they're going to be posting information there on the regular. I don't know. I refreshed the page. I don't know if it'll live update or if you'll have to continue refreshing. It does look
pretty
like
advanced technology.
It does look like you may have to keep refreshing.
Nice.
Dave Limp has taken the stage.
Very exciting.
My dog. I have another.
In the meantime, we are actually here to answer questions for Alexa developers. So if any of you have any questions for us about building stuff or whatever, and actually I'm going to flip the view here just for a moment. Scott, I don't know if you've been part of these conversations, but Ryan is really the reason this happened. But many of you, in fact, I'm going to bump both of you off the stage just for a second. You guys may have noticed that I have all of my devices plugged in now. Look at this. Look. Devices plugged in, working. Bring you guys back.
Yay.
That is something that I've been putting off for weeks, literal weeks. And I finally drilled all the grommet holes and ran all the wires and stuff today. So
very proud of you, Jeff.
Although
I'm disappointed I wasn't able to mock you today. So
I know. And that was actually, I woke up fearful that if I don't do this right now, because I did it at 8:30 this morning. I was like, if I don't do this right now, it will be ceaseless mocking from Ryan, and I don't want that.
Yes.
So
it's a good motivator.
It is a good motivator. Peer pressure is a magical thing if you use it in the right way. All right.
Peer pressure.
So, man, I'm so excited about these announcements. That's all I can focus on. I have. Let me talk to you guys about a skill while we're waiting for some questions. I have a skill that I'm going to start building. I may start crafting it on my own in private, but my expectation is that I'm going to start building this live in public, not this week, not next week, but the week after. I'm actually going to be in Seattle, Scott, speaking of. I'm going to be in Seattle Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week for a team offsite. Ryan will be there. Woo-hoo. And then I'm taking a short trip to LA to watch the Browns beat up on the Chargers over the weekend.
Sports.
When I get back from that, I'll be back Monday night. I would expect maybe Tuesday morning I'm going to start a broadcast where I start working on building stuff. Sathonia says, I want to make sure I translate this properly. I dropped out of Google's Dialogflow to start developing Alexa skills, and it's amazing until now.
Oh, drama.
I want to know what till now means.
What does that mean? It's like a cliffhanger.
Right. I mean, this is like a 3-act play we're about to dive into.
Right? Like this is a big deal until now.
So Sathomia on YouTube, tell us more. Why is it not amazing now, and how can we help you? One of the ways that I might recommend, if we don't end up answering your questions now, is to recommend that all of you that are watching, if you aren't already a member, I would recommend heading over to alexa.design/Slack. This is our Slack community. We're coming up on 1,500 people already. I feel like we just hit 1,400. But we are almost to 1,500 people, and there are people there answering questions, engaging, talking to each other, solving problems for each other. And I think it's only going to continue to get better. I have a bunch of plans internal to Amazon about getting more people from my side to participate. So I'm really excited about where this community is headed. But if you're looking for answers and guidance and advice, Slack is where you should be. So if you haven't already, you can go to that link right there, join up, find us there. You can find me, find Ryan. Scott, are you in there?
Yeah, I pop in there every once in a while. Yeah, usually between.
So if you're looking for us or you would just want to chat, look us up. We're all in there. Okay. So Sathomia, I'm looking to know what else, why is amazing till now, but we'll wait for you to come back at us on that. Datatraya, who's a regular here, says, how do I use SkillFlow Builder? Which is the best tutorial link? Well, I know somebody that's been deep into our tutorials. Are there any tutorials specifically based around SkillFlow Builder, Ryan?
Not that I've seen, but the term tutorial is highly overloaded.
It is. It is
with Alexa, which is I'm working on.
Managing
yes. So I know there's some good information in the GitHub repo. It's been a long time I've only been here a few months, but it's been a while since I looked at SkillFlow Builder. I haven't dug into it all that deeply. But I do know that I believe from the GitHub repo, there's a bunch of links to help guides, but I don't know of any official tutorial or walkthrough or workshop with it.
It does look like, let's see, it looks like there is a great blog post, which was actually published July 30th of 2020. So it's been out there a little bit. But I will post this link. This is a blog post. And again, blog posts are usually timely. So I can't assure you that all of this information is still completely up to date, but it should be a good starter place for you. It should provide you a link to Skillflow Builder to download it. And it does look like it has setup instructions, tips and tricks, and creating your first project. So I think that might be a really interesting first stop for you. All right. So our first announcement, it looks like has landed. First device anyway.
Thermostat. Of course.
The smart thermostat.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was going to be more digital style. I mean, I guess it is digital, but it looks here. Let's see if we can. I can't easily do that. Anyway, if you guys are on that update page, you'll see a picture of it. But it's more kind of like it's kind of more like this kind of display, like this thing, than it is like an actual digital display. Interesting. Looks cool though. It looks like it's meant to blend into a wall, where I think
I like that.
The more modern digital thermostats are meant to be like this colorful animated screen on your wall.
That's a good price. That's a really good price.
Really good price. And I would imagine it's very easy to set up with Alexa.
Let's hope so, Jeff.
Yeah. All right. So I've missed a couple of things here. A. Witters says, can you give any insight into how the certification team operates? How much testing is automated versus actual human testing? Is this one for Scott?
Yeah. So all skills, there is a certain level of automation because there are just so many processes that don't need to be checked by a human. Like when you're operating, like the Alexa platform has got so many built-in cool little things that that you as a developer know they work, and we as the Alexa know that they work, and so they don't. There's like a small amount of automation in there. The grand majority of them are tested by people and by humans, which is the reason why it takes 5 to 7 days, although it's getting longer now because of COVID. But like a lot longer actually. But the process essentially works is, you have a small amount of automated testing in your developer portal that will run your skill through what are basically like the big red flags to see if something doesn't work or if something's not connected or something like that. But beyond that, the certification team will follow your instructions to the T. Like absolutely with your testing, when you submit a skill and you have the testing instructions section, they will follow your instructions exactly. So it's always really important. I always tell people as often as I can to use the testing instructions. You're basically having a conversation with your developer, with your certification team. We don't know who's going to get your skill to certify it. We don't know which team. It kind of just goes into a bucket, and then we all take them out and start doing them depending on a few different things. But there's, but it is important that they follow the instructions exactly. And a lot of people don't really fill that in quite as good as they could. Sure. So that might be a good reason as to certification fails. But it's all tested by humans. We all run through this. We run through all these skills ourselves, and not
so
myself.
Say that every skill gets some human testing.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, okay. So even your small ones, like the flash briefing. So like there are some things that we don't need to test that are simple and easy stuff that, like a flash briefing. For the most part, like there are, with the exception of content, it's really not that much code and everything's already pre-built anyway. You've just added in all your stuff. Right. So they're going to check your content, but beyond that, the majority of the automated testing just tests your code, and if it fails, it fails. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So that's really where the automation part comes in. It's not so much that we just automate testing of thousands of skills at a time. Literally every one of these skills is being tested by a human. It's people hear the automation part and they get, concerned about like, well, you're not paying attention to my skill, and it's important because it's a kind of intricate. And I understand that, but that's not the way it goes.
Got it. I posted a link. I'm going to get to the questions because Sathomia came back at us about why they're challenged.
Mm-hmm.
But there was another product announcement, which is kind of one of the bigger ones. The Echo Show 15. I tried to paste a link into an image of it, but again, I think you guys will be better off if you just go to that About Amazon link that has all the updates coming in. It is a 15-inch device that you hang on your wall, or I think it also comes with a stand if you just want to set it up. But it adds a whole bunch of different interfaces too, shared calendars and sticky notes and all sorts of cool stuff.
Okay, this is exactly what I wanted my whole life. In all the sci-fi movies where they're walking through their house and there's a screen on their kitchen that's just got all the weather and stuff on there, and they don't even care. They just walk right past it. Like that's what I wanted.
And I think it's because it's not designed for one person. It's meant for the people that live there, right? So it can be configured and shared amongst all of them. I think that's pretty awesome.
That is neat. Mm-hmm.
I like that you don't have to buy a $6,000 refrigerator to get this functionality,
right?
Because they've kind of been developing this in fridges, and I'm like, that's really cool, but there's no way.
Yeah.
They also announced, based on this device, they're releasing visual ID, so it can now recognize you and then tailor the interface. When you walk up in front of it, it shows you the stuff that you care about. That's pretty awesome. God, this stuff's awesome. Okay. So Sathomia said, I've never worked with code. It's being difficult, but I made a lot of basic and functional skills. Amazon is going to be the new Apple here in Brazil. Well, that's a nice compliment. Thank you.
That's what we're shooting for.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is some coding aspects to this. Sathomia, one of the things that I'll recommend you check out, if you're just looking to build simple things, is take a look at the Alexa blueprints. If you're not a coder, this is a good place to start because you can go to blueprints.amazon.com and you can create skills. You can even publish those skills to other people and share them. But they basically are forms that you fill out, and you decide when someone says something like this, then say something like this. And it's a simple, easy way to build out some kind of interesting experiences. You're not going to build anything broad or robust, but you can build some compelling experiences like question and answer skills and trivia and stories and all sorts of stuff. So blueprints.amazon.com, check that out. I think you'll like it. In the meantime, we do have a bunch of code samples available on GitHub. You can go to github.com/Alexa, as well as on our website and our tech docs to help you kind of navigate the coding pieces that you might be getting stuck on. So in the meantime, if you have questions like, hey, how do I do this? Or how do I write the code for this? We're happy to help. If you have those kinds of questions, again, either in the Slack or here during office hours, we're happy to try to take those on.
Also, we were talking about the voice flow builder earlier.
Yeah.
I think very visually. I am not a good coder. Okay. I've tried. Look, I have tried for years. I have tried to learn code. I'm a visual thinker, and to be honest, it's real hard to try to memorize all this stuff and use it properly. I always end up with 10,000 Post-it notes. So there's a service out there called VoiceFlow. We're talking about like the skill flow builders and stuff. Our skill flow builder kind of came after theirs, and we're still really ramping up to how great theirs is. VoiceFlow is something I very much recommend. It's a really easy way for you to kind of visualize how a skill is going to work by essentially using 3x5 cards and then telling them what to do. It's really neat. So if you're having trouble with code, like myself, I can't do it. I have ADHD. So what do you want from me? And it's not gonna. Then I absolutely recommend VoiceFlow because it's a really cool thing. Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Someone said something about we need the Alexa Big Mouth Billy Bass to come back. I know there are some people that have still. Ryan, if you haven't seen that, by the way,
I have.
Billy Bass to be able to use Alexa's voice, and it actually moves the mouth at the right time and all that.
One of my favorite Alexa stories. Yeah.
That's not an official product, right? Like that's just someone.
It is
fun. It is.
Yeah. So somebody, a developer out there, did it. Just grabbed one of the Billy Mouth Basses out there and did it, and the company was like, yeah, and then they just made it more, and so they integrated it.
I missed that part of the story. Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah. No, I mean,
they stopped making them.
Great idea.
Meow Cakes TV.
Yeah.
Robert Pollack wants to know, and this is on LinkedIn, if there's a problem with the functionality to upload zip files to your Lambda functions this morning. I haven't seen any alerts about that kind of down.
Yeah, I was just looking at the AWS Service Health dashboard, and there's nothing listed there. It is broken up by region.
Right.
But I haven't seen anything. I haven't tried it yet this morning, but there's no alerts about it.
I'm not seeing anything. Let me check my other. Hang on. Okay. No. Nothing's on my boards yet, so doesn't seem to be.
Got it. One other thing, another just question that came in, and I don't believe so. I believe this went GA a while ago, but Q311 wants to know if Alexa in-skill purchasing is still technically a beta. I don't believe so. I believe that's actually GA.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it probably went GA maybe last summer, last Alexa Live-ish. Because I know it did have a rather extended beta program, but it's been a while now that I think it's been GA.
Yeah.
Now, is it available in all locales?
Yeah.
That was my question. I started to look into that.
Oh,
I
know at Alexa Live we announced we expanded it internationally.
The funny thing is I want to immediately look these things up, and I'm on my laptop, so I can't like turn to the side and start doing something. I have to, and it's all here in the cameras. It's just, I look weird, but I'm Googling, so I don't want to do that.
I have another screen over here. That's why I keep looking.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Mine's all upstairs.
All right. So I mentioned the Echo Show 15, and someone said we skipped entirely over 11 through 14. It's the size of the screen, not the model or version.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Eugene Baxter wants to know where the best place to see all the chat or questions. Is it Twitch, YouTube, or LinkedIn? I don't know that there is a best place. We have a unified view here in our broadcast studio, but your best, if you really want to see all of the conversation across all the platforms, my recommendation would be to open a tab for each and kind of set them up on your screen that way. But there is not a way to unify the Twitch, the YouTube, the LinkedIn, and the Facebook comments all together for our viewers. You just get to see the comments that happen on your platform. But I read all of them out loud, so we will get to all of them eventually. Someone said, Echo Show 42-inch, boom, hashtag boom. I don't believe we've released a 42-inch Echo Show. However, if you have a Fire TV stick, you kind of do have whatever size you do want. Let's see. I want to see if we talked about any other devices yet. It doesn't look like it. We're talking about some services now. Amazon Kids Plus is pretty cool. They just announced Hey Disney. Have you guys heard about this?
No.
So we announced earlier this year Alexa Custom Assistant, which allows a company to build their own assistant on top of the Alexa technology. Hey Disney is exactly that. And so you'll be able to talk directly to Disney as its own assistant. That's pretty cool.
Oh, from home too. I thought this would be something just at like the theme parks.
Like in their hotels and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you'll be able to use it everywhere.
My kids will like that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So W. Georgia posted a link for you, Scott. Brilliant.tech/home.
Yep. I've been looking at it.
Awesome.
It's pretty cool. The idea. So this is something I've been playing with for a while now because our house is old, and so this town that I'm living in is we didn't get power until 1934. They were the last region in Washington to get a power grid, and they did it on purpose because apparently people didn't want the government man reaching into your house controlling you. So sounds familiar. I don't know, but the power lines here are so weird that I have to, like, one of the rooms upstairs, the light switch is on the opposite side of the wall. So when it's dark and creepy and really, and late at night, you have to go across the dark room to get to the light switch, which is just a horror movie waiting to happen.
Right.
So I've been playing with the idea of putting in smart switches so that I can just pop them on the wall and then be able to light the whole house up or do the whole thing. And this is a cool setup. I'm looking at the Brilliant smart home system, and it looks pretty neat. So I'm going to have to dig into this a little bit more.
Awesome. I had an episode of Alexa and Friends it's probably been a month now, with a guy that makes a smart fuse box. right?
Mhm.
So you can control the entire fuse box, including each individual fuse from your phone, from your voice, whatever. It's called. Oh, now I'm forgetting the name of it.
Okay.
I can't remember the name. I'll look it up here in a second.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. I'm gonna look into
But I was talking with him about where he thinks the future will be with smart home and how it goes. And one of the things he said is, I imagine most rooms, 10 years from now, won't have light switches. They just won't exist.
Yeah.
Because the house will eventually be like, the parallel he drew was, today we do everything for our house, right? We have to make sure everything's managed and wired. Like, we do everything for the house, and the house doesn't give us a whole lot back. We still have to do everything. And eventually, he thinks probably in the next 10 years, the house is going to be able to look out for you and make sure that you have lighting when you're walking through the house. And if it recognizes it's a certain time, like let's say it's 11:30 at night, it turns on lights in the room you're in and then turns them off behind you so that you can just navigate your way upstairs and get to bed. But you won't need to turn lights on and off. It'll just know when it's time.
Yeah.
There's obviously a lot of AI and stuff that goes into that. It's Span. Thank you, Ryan. The company's called Span. Their website's span.io. Very, very interesting company and set of products. But that blew my mind a little bit when he mentioned the idea that rooms just wouldn't have light switches, because that's a huge leap forward in how we think about things today. I have smart light switches all over my house, but the idea that they would just disappear, pretty cool.
I love that idea. I think that I've been pulling wires out of my house now for months. Like there have been so many phone wires and cable TVs and like I was talking to my friend Brittany and she's like, well, but you don't want to pull all the jacks out because then like you won't. And I'm like, but that's not where the TV is going to go. Like that's not where the industry's going.
Right.
My entire TV is all on Wi-Fi. I don't connect it. It used to be on a hard line,
right? And
it can be, but it's not anymore. I can just put it on Wi-Fi. There's no reason for it, and it works great. There's so like we are in this kind of progression moving towards like where we're not going to have any cables, even like power, even like the we talked about this with your wall, like the wireless power. Love that idea. Like that, well, I just throw my phone down on the desk when I get home, and then like, bam, it's already charging because it's on the desk. Like, I love the idea of the house looking out for you.
Yeah,
that to me is like when I get home, it's like lockdown, or I say shields up, and then like the house, like I love that idea.
That's so good. Have you guys ever used a magnetic stud finder?
Yes.
Yes.
You can just trace it down your wall, and you will let go. It sticks, right? It sticks and very sturdily holds on to that nail that it finds or screw.
Yep.
I'm imagining a world where there are light switches, but they're just clinging to studs with strong magnets, and they don't actually have any kind of power source. I can't imagine a light switch really requires that much power, but imagine they just take the solar power from the lighting in your home to charge. And then you can hang them up wherever you. So if you want a light switch next to your bed, boom, put it on the wall. If you want a light switch by the door, boom, put it on the wall.
It's actually a very good idea.
Right. I need to start a company that makes those because I think that would be. I can't imagine it requires a lot of power to just like send that blip signal out to turn the lights off over Wi-Fi.
No, it would be less than an LED light. You could power with watch batteries.
Actually, I have
round up a bunch of those old dash buttons, right? And
oh my god,
you're reading
glue those to your wall. Yeah, you read my mind. There we go. Yeah,
the Red Bull Dash, of course. I love dash buttons.
But they still make these. I don't know if you guys have any of these, but this is the AWS IoT button. I still have it in the box.
I have one of those.
It's the same device, but you can hook it up to do anything.
They still make those?
Yeah, they still make those. Because you can figure how it works and what the endpoint is. They're still a nice form.
Right, just hits a Lambda. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're really cool.
I'm not doing a good job of getting through these questions. This is a fantastic conversation, though. Okay, so Benjamin Anderson, I don't know that I'm going to have a solution to this one. Says he's having massive issues with his Echo Show 10 and it loading APL. The APL doesn't load, instead a black screen and errors back to the home screen. All other shows work fine with my skill, but my Echo 10, I'm assuming he means the floating screen one, this guy, is having issues. Benjamin, I have to ask the super obvious IT guy question. Have you tried rebooting it? The other thing to do would be to check and make sure that it has all the most recent updates. Because we are releasing new versions of APL on a pretty regular basis. And so I suppose it's possible maybe you haven't gotten an update recently or whatever, but if the device is talking to the internet, it should do all of that stuff. But Those are my first checkpoints. You're going to tell me you've done all that, and that's wonderful. I don't have the next step option. But this is where reaching out to me on Slack or sending me an email, I can try and get this in front of the right people. I'll start with the APL team and see what I can do. Benjamin, another place I would recommend checking out is I don't think we've announced it just yet, but it should be very, very soon, minutes away. I'm going to be doing an event on Thursday. We're calling it a tech talk, but it's basically going to be a live Q&A about all of the announcements that are happening right now. And so I will have the APL guys there on screen with me to answer questions. This might be a good chance. If I haven't gotten you anything, or if you haven't gotten me anything by Thursday, might be a good question to ask them as well. So tune in for that on Thursday. We should be announcing that very, very soon.
The only other stupid thing I could think of is that you have some sort of conditionals wrapping the APL to say because you can correctly render APL documents for different screen types and orientation, and maybe you just don't have anything rendering at all for that device in landscape. So maybe even trying it out, that's on the simulator. What do we call that thing in the developer portal? Testing it out, that particular device there to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
The simulator.
Damn it.
So Scott, I'd love your perspective on this, because Robert Kolak on LinkedIn sent me a message on Slack, and I haven't gotten back to him yet because it's been a busy morning of drilling holes. But one of the things that he sent to me, I'm summarizing the comment that he left here, is he's built a skill that allows people to keep track of their medications. So they put their medications into the system. They put their dosages into the system. It's entirely user input based. He's not providing any guidance or prescription or whatever. But he's getting failed at certification because he is giving information about dosages and medications. But it's literally only the information that the user's given. So if it was a note-taking app or a to-do list, it would be totally fine. But because it happens to be medications, he's failing. Is there anything he can do to maneuver around that?
So I have to be real careful here, because this is we're venturing into policy territory here.
Yeah.
When we're talking about medications and anything medical at all, it's always going to be a big policy concern. So the main concern here is that not that the skill functions the way it works, because I'm sure it works just fine. And of course, it is all voluntary information for the person to be able to put in and then have it fed back to them. But that's the problem, is that it's personal medical information that's being stored somewhere. And while it's understandable that they're voluntarily putting their information in something that is secure, I'm like, by no means am I saying, well, it's unsecure, so I'm sure you're taking all of these thoughts in mind. It's just the problem is that when it comes to medical information, when it comes to financial information, when it comes to the names of children, any kind of kids involved, these are really scary places, because the moment we get the one person abuse it once, then it's like everybody gets open to attack. So there is no way around that. There is no way around the idea that the people are going to put medical information into a database that is owned and operated by somebody else, and then fed back to them. Because again, because that's just how Alexa works. Alexa is just a talking box. Everything is done in the cloud. So
yeah, that makes sense. So it sounds to me like he's being recommended that he needs to have a medical disclaimer in his descriptions, as well as voiced by Alexa when you use the skill.
Yeah,
he's just trying to avoid doing those things, but it sounds like he may have to go through those box checking exercises.
Yeah. If they're giving you a path, follow it. If you have any more questions or anything like that, you can write into my team, which is the contact us page in the developer console. We have a couple of people who are absolutely experts in this exact thing, and they're really great at their job. So, write us in, and we'll provide you a way we'll have to take a look at your skill card. I can't promise anything. There's no I can't pre-approve any skills. So we'll have to take a look at what you're doing. But if there is a way through it, if there is a way that we can find a path to be able to get this done, we will. But medical information is always really rough. So happily, we will work with you. That's what the developer advocacy team is for to advocate for you on your behalf while inside Amazon. So write us in.
Got it.
And we'll get to work for you.
All right. Next question comes from Top Driver on LinkedIn, on Twitch. Is there any new updates on Amazon Associates for Alexa? This feels like a question that is being asked because you may not have heard the announcements at Alexa Live. But yes, in fact, we do have that. We have Alexa Shopping Actions, which allows you to sell any individual product on Amazon that you see fit. But you can also sell other people's products through
Something I found on the web.
Alexa. Stop. Through the exact same mechanisms as associates. So you can get a little bit of a kickback. And actually, this plays into, I mentioned earlier that I was going to be building a skill coming up here very soon. And mine is going to use this functionality as part of its core. So I don't think I've talked with you guys about this one specifically, but this household is very into board games. All of the board games do, right? Not necessarily the Monopolies and the Lifes of the world, but things like Settlers of Catan and Ticket to Ride. And if you are into board games at all, you've heard of those. But I probably have 150, maybe 200 board games in this house. So I thought it would be a super cool way to make some content, right? So quick reviews, maybe a video that shows you a quick overview of how to play the game, but then also use that associates kind of concept to allow you to buy the game directly from my skill. You're like, oh man, this one looks super cool. Buy, right? And so you can continue to watch and engage with my reviews and content, but also hopefully I make a little bit of money by you buying the game as a direct result of that. So that's the skill that I'm going to build. I have a lot to figure out and navigate there. And obviously creating all the content is the hard part, but that's the thing that I'm going to start building here in the next few weeks, because I know I personally enjoy, and I'm talking short content, right? 30 seconds, maybe a minute of like a quick overview, quick cuts, whatever, to make you see how the game works. But I think that that's a pretty consumable format, and I would be interested to see if that actually resonates with folks or not.
Oh, man. I love board games.
Right.
So, and I don't play Monopoly. We play the ones that are in boxes that are that thick and are like for 12 to 19 players. Like this is like,
all the twiddly bits. There's
these 35 tokens, and it takes 18 days to play your first turn. Like these are my favorite games. And I love the idea of Alexa being used as a companion along with those kinds of games, as well as like books or movies. Like you want to learn more history about this character or whatever, you just ask Alexa and she'll tell you. I love the idea of a board game companion that goes along with like Catan or have you played House on Haunted Hill?
I have. Do you know that there actually is a Catan skill that you can play along with?
Okay, I'm sure there is. I say that at the moment I said, I'm like, of course there's going to be a Catan skill.
I didn't mean Catan. I meant Ticket to Ride. So it's actual AI that will tell you what its move is, and you have to tell it what your move was, and it's keeping track of the entire board in its head, and then it can say, oh, I want this route, and I take these cards, and it's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's made by the company that makes Ticket to Ride. So it's
that's pretty cool.
I
love those games. Yeah. In fact, because my fiance works at Wizards of the Coast, and they just released or they did a Baldur's Gate version.
Yeah.
And she's in that one. She wrote one of their stories. It's pretty cool. So it's pretty cool. And you play Baldur's Gate, and it's just I want these. I want these skills. These are great.
All right, Eugene Baxter on LinkedIn said, "Is there any?"
Real quick though, going back to Top, I do believe that the announcement from Alexa Live for Amazon Associates is still in limited developer preview though, so I don't think they're taking applications for that.
It probably isn't,
but I don't.
The best way for you to get new information would be to sign up for that interest form.
Yeah. Sorry to bring it back to the question. You're having great conversation. My kids are almost the age where they're going to start playing board games intensely, so I'm looking forward to that.
How old are your children again?
9 and 5. So the 9-year-old's probably there, but we can't do anything about the 5-year-old. So
Ryan, I'm gonna kick off this journey for you. I assume that you like board games.
Yeah, it's been a while, but yes.
All right, I'm gonna kick off this journey for you. Send me privately your mailing address. I will get you the first game that even your 9 and 5-year-old can play, and they will love it.
All right. Thank you.
Sure. All right. So Eugene Baxter, LinkedIn, said, are there any capabilities to scan and see Bluetooth beacons? I think Eugene's been on here before asking about this, being able to recognize and identify Bluetooth devices that are around an Echo. I'm not aware of any capabilities like that. It doesn't mean that's not happening. I'm not aware of any. So I apologize for that bumper.
Do you mean like scan the room? Like you ask her to scan the room and then find all the Bluetooth in the area? Like,
well, there are specifically Bluetooth beacons that allow you to know where something is, or one example that we use is at conferences. This is something that's starting to grow in popularity right before the pandemic. Your badge had a Bluetooth beacon on it, right? It's just a signal, an identifier, but then there are Bluetooth receivers at the door to every conference room. So instead of standing there and scanning people in, as someone passes through that entryway, it's kind of a little bit like RFID, but with a greater range. You can know who came and went from those rooms and when, just because they were wearing their badge, right? So that's an example where I've seen Bluetooth beacons used relatively effectively. But you can use
Casinos use them. Casinos use them a ton now.
Sure.
So.
You'd have to wake her up every time you looked. It would have to be a new action every time.
Right.
Because there's not something that would be an ongoing thing. So, I mean, I get you could do it. I get like if you were looking for your phone, like I would need that for my phone, frankly. But I already, there's a skill that you can get called Find My Phone, which I use all the time.
I also use it.
Yeah.
More often I use it for my son's phone because he can't seem to figure out where it is at any
That's
time.
why I bought my wife an iWatch, just so that Apple Watch, just so that she can push the button and have her phone ring.
Right.
So
it's
a great feature.
Incredibly powerful. And I will tell you, like, I give Apple a lot of credit for how intricate they've had to think about when the phone can and can't make noise. Have you ever appreciated what that like decision tree has to be in the phone? Because there's that little switch on the side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that mutes your phone mostly, except if you choose to watch a video on your phone, it doesn't affect it at all. It'll play the audio for that video. Even if my phone's muted and all the silence is off, if I send Find My Phone signal, it plays at full volume out of my phone. So it's amazing to me. Someone has to manage that entire decision tree about when and if it will or will not make noise. But it's kind of cool how complex it is because there's a lot of side issues that you have to think about. Because my phone's almost always silenced, right? It's on vibrate, the switch is off, volume's down because I get a ton of notifications.
Yeah, that's good.
It annoys my entire family, but that also means that I wouldn't be able to find it if I wasn't able to make noises otherwise. I think it's nice forethought how they've given the software the power to control it, even though the switch mostly does what you want it to do. All right. Eugene Baxter also said his favorite lowest cost Alexa device, the Dash Wand. I have one of those boys right here. My archive of devices. Ryan, I don't know if you ever saw one of these, but it's
I'm
magnetic.
So jealous. I want one.
To the fridge. It has a barcode scanner built into the tip of it, and this button, if you push it, was an Alexa device. So what you could do is you pull the milk out of the fridge. You'd be like, oh man, I'm using all the milk. You take this and you would just scan the milk and boom, it would add it to your shopping list. So it was just a little UPC barcode scanner.
Where did this go? Why don't we have
seriously?
Stop making it, stop supporting it. Yeah.
What I mean, that's awesome. That's
fantastic. It's such a cool device, but it also has this button on it, so you can push it anytime and just talk to Alexa. It has the full everything built into it, and it was cheap. It was like $15, $19. Like it was really quite a bargain. So that's part of my graveyard of
I'd
devices.
take like 3 of those. I could.
I actually had the idea. I had this idea. Like we don't allow access to the barcode on the Echo shows. So or not the barcode, like the camera. So I had this idea. Like you walk by the show and just go beep with your box of cereal, and then it just adds it to your list. And now I don't have that wand, and I'm upset about it.
Got it. Hey, back to that APL issue. It looks like A. Witters actually found something in the release list for APL. Echo Show 10, skills that have a wake word response using their skill manifest or developer console interfaces tab might crash when launched on Echo Show 10 devices. An urgent patch to fix this should roll out in the coming days. In the meantime, see workaround for Echo Show 10 issue. So it looks like they have acknowledged and are working on a patch to solve the specific issue. that W Giorgio was having. So that's good.
It's awesome.
Wow. See, developer community is awesome.
It is so good. Like all of you here in the chat that are dumping links to people and sharing all this information, this is what it's about.
Yeah.
It's how we all grow and thrive. So thank you.
We're just the moderators.
Yeah.
We don't have all the answers. So
yeah, it's so funny.
well, Jeff does, but
Jeff probably does. Yeah. Somebody does. Somebody somewhere does. I used to be a bartender and I came to this industry thinking that everybody knew everything all the time. And it's not the case. We are just humans.
we're just good at Google.
Yeah, we're really good at Googling.
That's all my entire career has been, is being really good at using a search engine. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like we got a little bit of an advantage there. Google was invented when I was like 20.
Yeah.
So it was like this new fun thing that you do on your.
And I draw a lot of parallels to the situation that Ryan's in right now, right? In the same way that I grew up as Google evolved and like we were able to use a search engine, and like I'm a master of using like the minus sign and quotes and like bracketing and doing things to really refine your search. My kids don't know any of those commands because they're new to it. They're just like typing things in and hoping it works.
Yeah, because they didn't have to work.
With Ryan, it's because I've had 20 something years to play with it and learn, and they haven't had that. In the same way, I've been here at Alexa since almost the beginning, and Ryan only joined us a couple of months ago. It would be impossible for him to know all of the nooks and crannies and all of this stuff as we talk about the breadth that is Alexa. It's going to take him a long time, I think, to really feel comfortable knowing all the things, because he's only had a few months.
I mean, I don't know all the things. I've been here for 3 years.
Yeah, I definitely don't know all the things either. But that's what the community's for. People specialize, and they need people like Alexander Martin. When you need an APL thing answered, go find Alex. Like that's what you do. All right. Oh, excuse me. I don't have an answer to this question, but I'll bring it up for you guys, and we'll see how we get about this. Swagui Mangui, I don't know if that's pronounced properly, but it's on Twitch, looking for an answer from the Alexa managers in the United States. Why Alexa does not put the same functions for all countries? I can answer that in a second. Why isn't there a menu in the digital wellness to administer each family member and give them limitations or permissions? Well, let's start with the first one. Why are not all the functionality available in all the countries? It's the unreasonable answer is speed to market. It is easier for us to roll it out for one language in one locale, English United States, and get it tested and working and refined. I think it's safe to assume there's probably a little bit of testing and production there too. We get it out to one large population. We see how it works. We refine, we manage. But then there's also a lot of work that needs to go between, okay, we've got this thing, but now we need it in German, or now we need it in Japanese. There's a lot of work to get it there. And it can be almost as much development time as it took to build the feature itself, just to get it to those new languages. So that's why you often see a lot of our features launched initially in the United States, only to roll out later, 6 months, a year later, in other locales. That's my best answer to that question.
Yeah, it's also language.
Yeah.
Yeah. The second piece, though,
and we'll learn a bunch by rolling it out to US, and then we can adapt, figure out what we missed, what we got wrong the first time, and roll it out to one language instead of rolling it out to 20 all at the same time. So it's strategic.
Language is tricky.
It certainly is.
I mean, the languages in certain regional dialects are so vastly different sometimes that you don't even realize it. In Arabic, we just did Arabic, and there is it just in one part of one country, there's a different way to say a word on the left half than there is on the right half.
Yeah,
and so it's like, okay, that's just one of the things.
Yeah, I was aware of this, I guess, but I was really exposed to this when I went to India in February of 2020, right before the pandemic. And just how many different dialects and languages there are in that country. I mean, it's a huge country with a giant population, but the language changes from place to place. So does the cuisine, by the way. I was also surprised by that. Anyway, as far as administrating each family member and giving them limitations or permissions, I don't know why that's not there. I do know that you can go in and set up individuals on a device, and I do that all through the mobile app. So I think the question is, how do I do it on the device? I don't have a great answer for you on that, but I do know that, for example, my wife and I share all of our devices in the house, so she can switch accounts if she wants to use her stuff and interact with her skills. But I know you can do it in the app. I don't know about on the devices though. I would guess that's probably just something that's still coming. That's I think that's my best answer for now. But you make a very good point, Swagooey Mongooey. So I hope that partially answers your question.
This one's gonna float around in my brain for a little while because I know something is telling me in my brain that I know the answer to that question. But like there's different ways to set the voice, and like if you say "Who am I?" she will identify you, and she will identify me, and then identify my fiance separately. Like I know that there's something in here we can do. I'll research it, and we'll see if we can find something out.
Top Driver, referring to the Amazon Associate stuff, says they have signed up for the developer preview, but have not heard anything back yet. This is something that I'm actively working with our teams on, so I'm hoping that will change here in the very near future. We want to make sure that you guys all get feedback, whether positive or negative. I want to make sure you're hearing something. W. Giorgio says he didn't know there were search commands. I'm guessing he's joking. Any developer worth their salt knows how to navigate Google pretty well. OxygenBot suggests that I might use Bing instead of Google. I did use Bing for a very short amount of time. It's fine. It's a perfectly reasonable search engine. But I did a lot of studies at the time comparing the results of Bing and Google, and I found that in many cases, at least for software development stuff, Bing tended to give me the top result to be the right one more often. It's not that Google was wrong; it might have been the second result or something. But I haven't actively used Bing in probably 4 or 5 years. So I don't.
Is it true that Bing stands for because it's not Google?
No, I don't.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think.
Are you absolutely sure?
Yeah, the intention of that word, my understanding, this is not official from Microsoft. The Bing, they wanted a word that was it was a verb, right? Something that you could do. And so they wanted people to be able to Bing it. I don't know that it was the right word or whatever. But I think that's what they were going for. They needed to find a short domain that was a verb that was actionable, right? Because they recognized that was going to be how the word would be used.
Yeah, I mean, Alexa was almost called Flash, so
right. And they, but I mean, you think about like people that use DuckDuckGo. You say I'm going to duck it. Like, what do you don't say DuckDuckGo it, right? We always used to joke inside Microsoft that we were going to Google it with Bing, and that's pretty funny too. Anyway,
I'm sure they love that.
Just ask Jeeves.
Okay, let's see. Oh, we are mostly caught up here. Datatria says, and maybe you can help with this one, Scott. He has 2 Amazon accounts, and he's able to log in with one of them and go to the developer console. But with the other one, it's showing a 404 error and says registration pending. Do you know anything about account management and?
Yeah. So there's a few things that can be happening there. 404 doesn't make sense though. Like that seems like, I don't know if they're trying to jump in on a VPN or not on a VPN. Try it without a VPN.
Right. Yeah, I would expect a page not found error. I would expect.
Yeah, that's weird to me.
Or something.
If it's, but then you're getting the results saying registration pending. It shouldn't, because registration is instantaneous, and so that shouldn't be there's nobody like going to approve your case, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
So I would say probably write into customer service. Not well, you can write to us, but we'll have to redirect you. And account stuff is tricky. It's always tricky. It's never been one of those things for as long as there's been the internet and accounts to sign up for. There's always been things that mess up with these accounts. It's just it's not something that for some reason it just gets messed up. An email address gets turned around, or a name gets put somewhere that you didn't think, or for something. But customer service is the right department to call, or to, you can call them, you can email them as well. They'll be able to grab your account and see what's going on and see why the other one's not working. The other one not working bothers me. If it's at 404, it seems like there's something else going on there.
Agreed. It feels like there's some kind of bug or error, or data corruption or something that's
that sounds, honestly, it sounds like a VPN issue.
Could also be that.
Yeah.
Top Driver on Twitch says he's very excited about Alexa Together. If you guys didn't see that announcement, that's happening right now. It's basically a bunch of services that allow you to provide care and support for a loved one through Alexa.
It's awesome.
Things like remote assist or a number of other things. I don't have all the details here in front of me, but it also has an urgent response feature, which enables hands-free professional emergency helpline, which can be incredibly useful if you have people that have fallen or something like that and they need help now. Very, very cool. It looks like it's a subscription-based service, and it's an expansion upon Alexa's Care Hub, if you guys have seen that previously. That was a free kind of limited service, and they are now expanding this to be a paid subscription with a lot of other capabilities.
I love those life-altering technologies. Like the games and all the other stuff is really fun to interact with, but the truly like life-altering solutions and ways that we're solving problems like that are just amazing, and it's awesome to be part of that as well.
Agreed. All right, I got two things I got to cover here. Tristan has asked, are we planning to deploy Alexa Guard in countries other than the United States, France, UK, Germany? So Tristan, what I'll tell you and everybody, as I always do, we are not here to talk about the future, unfortunately. So you can assume any feature you've ever seen from Alexa, you should assume, yes, we have intentions to deploy that globally. That is how Amazon works. We absolutely plan to do that. But your follow-up question to that is, okay, cool, when? And that I don't know. That is the answer that I don't have. So I think it's a fair assumption in almost every case. If you see a feature available on Alexa, you should assume at some point in the future, no matter how long, that we are aspiring to try to release that globally. That being said, I have no knowledge, no information at all to share with you about when Alexa Guard will be available in the European countries or Australia or Japan. I don't have any answers for you on that, unfortunately. But if that helps ease your mind that yes, eventually that will happen, I hope that helps. But I don't have anything beyond that.
Like you said, we don't talk about the future. We do all the time, actually.
we do.
Roadmap.
General future.
I like to talk about the general future, the 5 to 10 year. But the next 18 months is specifically off limits. All right, so Tapster just mentioned it on Twitch. Astro has been announced. If you guys haven't heard about Astro, we just released a robot.
Oh.
And so it looks super cool. It's got Alexa built in. I'm going to do everything I can to get one of these as quickly as I can. It has a periscope cam, so it's a little guy robot with a screen on it, but he has a periscope that goes, I think it's like 4 feet tall. It'll pop up and it can show a camera 360 view. This is a device primarily for like home security when you're not home, but man, this thing looks sweet. I hadn't actually seen a picture of it yet. I just knew it was coming. Oh, that's awesome.
Did you see the helicopter one, the drone?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I signed up for that on day one too. I want the drone, the Ring drone. I thought that was super cool too.
You know, it's like, it seems you want to be trepidatious about it, but it's like, it's so cool. It's so cool and also useful. I could fly this around my whole property while I'm gone.
Right.
And look and see if anything's wrong I mean, these are really cool devices that are coming out soon, you guys. Astro
looks so cool.
Yeah.
I'm pumped about that. Gavin wants me to show you Astro. Here, I'll just send you a link to the page where we're pushing all the announcements out. I posted this early in the stream, but I'll send it out to you guys again. If you go to that page, you can see pictures and all sorts of stuff.
Hey, Witters asks if it climbs stairs. And I think you just need to get more than one for each level of living space you have. That's my plan. I'll get 2.
It doesn't say it climbs stairs, does it? I haven't heard anything about that.
No. So I'm saying you just if you have a 2-story house, you just need 2. I think that's the practical solution. That's true.
I mean, this thing is so cool.
All right, I'm jazzed about that. That's very cool.
Yeah, we made a robot. Whatever.
Fabio on YouTube wants to know if I bought a Pokemon cookie. If you guys don't know about this, I posted this yesterday on Twitter and a couple of other places. Oreo released a Pokemon themed cookie box, right? So it's a standard pack of Oreos, but all the Oreos have a Pokemon character on one of the cookies. That's part of the Oreo. There are 16 different characters. Scott, I don't know if you're into Pokemon at all, but they have one. There's a character in Pokemon. His name is Mew. And of the 16 characters, Mew is incredibly rare, like one out of 100 packs or something. And so because of this, when people find a Mew, they're listing them on eBay. They're asking astronomical amounts, and that's fine if you want to ask astronomical amounts for it.
Sure.
But as of yesterday, about this time, over 140 people, 140 individuals had spent more than $500. This is real sold listings on eBay. This isn't like somebody's asking the price. They actually spent and purchased the item. 140 people had each spent over $500 to buy one cookie, one Oreo cookie that has Mew on it. That made my whole head explode. And I say 500 because that was what my search was. There were a couple that were in the 4 digits.
I mean, these things, like, humans are kind of amazing. Like, we don't need money to place value on something. We place value on things in our own ways. Wowzers, that's very expensive for a card or a cookie.
Right. And like, I'm deep into the baseball card world, so I can appreciate that there are cards that are easily worth $500 based on rarity or whatever.
I mean, you're going to snap a picture and get the NFT for it anyway, so.
Right. But a cookie,
$500 is not a bad investment.
Like a baseball card, if I put it in a nice case, it'll never get damaged. I can wave it around, I can drop it on the floor, it'll be fine and safe. It doesn't move at all. But a cookie, I don't care how good the case is. One, it's going to decompose over time. I don't actually know the half-life of an Oreo. It's probably long.
It is, I'm sure.
That's the NFT part. You do a 3D scan and you upload it, and you got your forever cookie.
Have you seen the hot dog in resin? I feel like you could put an Oreo in resin.
Oh
and
yeah,
last a really long time.
I can do it. We're actually way over time. But I had one other thing. I was just thinking about NFTs. By the way, Scott, I'm not like anti-crypto and NFT world, but I also have not bought into any of it yet. I haven't been convinced that it's
NFTs are the death of art.
It's an engine driven by hype, and those are not things that I spend my money on generally. But I was just thinking about this. I went to a baseball game on Sunday. I was thinking about, what if all of the seats to all stadiums were NFTs? You buy the NFT, which gives you physical access to a seat. And then if you want to sell it, you sell it. Now somebody else has the seats to that stadium for the whatever. It seems like it's a very transferable thing. You own the NFT, that grants you access to the stadium.
Oh my God, you could put that on a blockchain.
Yeah.
It completely eliminates the need for Ticketmaster.
Yes.
Oh, we're doing this. This is happening.
It sounds like a really interesting concept. And the problem I would have is, what is the initial price of that? Because if you possess it, do you have access to every game?
You could sell it as tickets. You could, like, they would literally be, the NFT of that seat is only good on this game on that one day.
Yeah. So
it's still time marked. It's still time stamped. You can't change that information. And if you put it in a blockchain, you literally can't change it. That's a great idea.
Yeah. I have a lot of those. I don't take action on
brains on Jeff. Look at this. Holy crap. That's a whole industry right there. That's a whole market.
Amazon will take on Ticketmaster and we'll make it happen.
Holy crap.
Please, no one quote that. I'm not doing any of these.
Oh yeah, no, nobody said anything. Nobody. No.
But I thought that was kind of an interesting, like, that's one thing where I could see, like, I don't know if you guys follow Gary Vaynerchuk, but he talks about this stuff at length. And I'm not a believer in most of it, but the way he pivots it to say, like, these digital tokens, while they're cool and neat, if they provide physical, real world access to things, like he said, he's going to sell 50 NFTs that grant you a phone call a month with him. If you own the NFT, you can just call him. And like, if you want to talk about stuff or whatever. And there are people that probably really value his opinion and insight on stuff, and it would be worthwhile to buy it. I don't necessarily value that, but I could see where having an NFT for a number of things that give you access to stuff in the real world could be incredibly compelling. And for the stadiums and the teams, the way those contracts are written on those NFTs, every time the transfer happens, they get a kickback.
Yeah.
Right? They get 5, 10, 15% of the sale.
And you'd have to, if you encrypt it. I'm not anti-crypto. I actually think that the concept itself is a very good concept.
Love the concept. The way it's being implemented today, I'm not a big fan.
I'm sure. I'm also not anti-knife, so, but that's a really, oh man, this is I thought this for a long time. The blockchain's the future. That's how that's how our whole industry should move. That's everything you can't break anything. You can't steal anything. This is a great idea, Jeff.
Thanks.
We should put together a one-pager, and we're going to shoot it up. I'll send you an email next week.
We are 6 minutes over, almost 7 minutes over. But guys, this has been an awesome conversation. Everybody go check out all the announcements today. I don't know when those products will actually make it to Amazon.com for purchase or pre-order, but I have to imagine it will be soon. So keep your eyes peeled on Amazon.com for all sorts of things, from robots to Echo Show 15s. And as soon as I can physically get one in my possession, they will be here, and we'll talk about them on office hours and stuff like that. So thank you guys all for tuning in. Ryan and Scott, thank you guys so much for being here.
Yep.
And we'll see you all next week. Actually, Ryan and I will be in Seattle next week, so we'll do the broadcast there. Very cool. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.